Hi everyone, welcome to Sue's Day. I'm Sue Ann Jafarian, the fat woman driving the novel RV, and I am here today visiting with two of my favorite people. This is Faith and Daniel Senny. Dan and Faith is what you're known as your singing group.
Yeah.
They are folk singers, they're wonderful. You can look them up online. We'll put links in the description for you. But like me, they own a Travato.
Hence the shirt.
Hence the shirt, see? Stacy and I are here spending a couple of days with them. As you can see, they have beautiful property. And I wanted to talk to them about their life on the road. They don't full-time like I do, but they use their Travato to get to and from gigs and travel around the country to do singing gigs. So, is that why you got a Travato?
It is actually why we originally got the Travato, was so that we could take our music beyond the local area. We were traveling a little bit by car and staying in hotels, but it's really a challenge. We carry a lot of equipment, instruments and sound gear and stuff, and we'd have to schlep it all into the hotel and all back out.
Yep.
And
that was annoying, and in cold, wet weather, having to bring the instruments into the hotel with you and out of the hotel with you, and repack the car every morning. It just got old. And we also discovered that there are parts of the country, we eat a vegan diet, and we discovered there are parts of the country where you can't find vegan food. So having our own kitchen was equally as important.
And we love to cook, so
Yeah.
having the ability to make our own meals on the road was a big deal.
Daniel's a bread maker.
I bake bread. I grind my own flour and bake bread usually once a week or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really nice to be able to feed ourselves on the road, not be worried about where we're going to find the next meal when we're out across the country.
Yeah.
And we get to travel and play our music. We also get to see the country.
Yes.
Those are equally important when we're out on the road. There's a lot of the country I'd never seen, and
a lot of the country that I last saw when I was 5, or teenager, and I'm no teenager anymore. So being able to go back and find the places that I remember as a kid, or take Dan to see the places that I fell in love with as a kid, and be able to share those with him has just been life-changing.
Now, you have a G Travato,
Yes.
which is different from my Model K.
Yes.
And you're on your second one, right?
yes.
We are.
Okay, so why did you choose the G, and why did you upgrade to a newer one?
Well, we chose the G because it has space to hold the instruments. There's enough space under the bed for the larger instruments and the sound gear, and there's no good way to get, especially Faith's enormous acoustic bass guitar and my full-size stage guitar.
And a full sound system.
And a banjo these days,
Yeah.
all in there. So that was the reason for choosing the floor plan.
Yeah.
We got the newer Travato, we got a 2019 over the 2016 because of the fridge. The earlier model had a 3-way fridge, which has the advantage it can run off of propane, it can run a long time boondocking, but it likes to be level.
And when we get to a venue parking lot, or parked on a side street somewhere, and the angle of the van is like this, or tilted off to the side, and now we have to worry about, do we need to turn the refrigerator off while we're doing the gig, and are we going to remember to turn it back on when we come back out?
And it will food spoil.
Yeah, and it was just easier to get the compressor fridge.
The newer one has a compressor fridge. The compressor fridge can be at least 30 degrees off of level and not care.
I have a compressor fridge in my
The K has always had.
Yeah.
The first 3 years or so, or 3 or 4 years of the
2014 through 2018.
Yeah, so it was several model years.
Five model years.
They had a fridge that was not great, and so.
And if we weren't doing parking in strange angled places for the length of time for a gig, it was fine. I mean, we traveled. We did 3 years worth of, 3 years with it, and
3 years, 51,000 miles in that one, and since that we've now had this one for just 5 years now.
And we just rolled 87,000 miles on it. So
it'd have probably been about 20,000 more if it weren't for the pandemic.
Right.
Because we didn't travel much.
Yeah.
How long do you go out on a trip to do your gigs?
Anywhere from a week or two to 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Depends on what we have scheduled.
And how far out we're going.
Yeah, the farthest tour took us all the way to the Pacific Ocean and back. We got to visit some places. Actually, we spent a bit of time that trip in Carmel. We were there on our honeymoon a very long time ago. So it was fun.
Carmel's changed a bit since then.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a really quiet little town.
Yeah,
when we
Not
were,
in-
not so quiet anymore. No.
but
What's your favorite place you've traveled to?
It's sort of like asking what your favorite child is.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know.
But oh man.
Well, say the top three, so you don't have to pick one.
I don't know.
One of the places, and it's actually a spot where we met up with you on the road,
Ah.
was City of Rocks campground
Yes.
in New Mexico.
That is
Yes.
a top 3 campground in the country for
Yeah.
my taste.
And,
Yeah, I love it there.
and just
Yeah.
fascinating with the volcanic rocks sticking up out of the ground. It looks like somebody plopped Stonehenge in the middle of New Mexico.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the funny
or-
thing about that
Easter
campground is
Island.
it's first come, first serve in the rock formations.
Yeah.
They have a regular campground.
Yeah, the fun sites are the first come, first serve.
Yes, and they don't accommodate bigger rigs, so our vans fit beautifully.
We were on this little terraced spot
I remember that.
that was just gorgeous, and we actually hiked up. There was a Table Mountain up beyond. It was an all-day
That was
hike
an
for
all-day
us.
hike.
Quite strenuous, but it was beautiful.
And where else?
Well, Rincon, we only were there one night, but that
Oh, right on the
Rincon
Pacific
Highway.
Ocean. Yep.
Yes, the
Right on the
Rincon
Pacific.
Parkway.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that too. When I lived in Los Angeles and first had my rig, I would head out there.
And I think you were the one that we first found out about it from. And that we only were there one night, but it was ocean, beach, us, train tracks, highway.
Yep,
you couldn't hear the trains or
Couldn't
the
hear the train
highway.
tracks.
because of the
Because
ocean.
of the
ocean.
The ocean
The
is like
ocean's
it's on
rumbling.
high volume.
I was kind of amazed to watch a train go by and realize that I had no idea
Yeah.
that it was there.
We went to the Badlands in South Dakota.
Yeah, I like that
This
too.
past fall, and that was fabulous.
I had been there as a kid, and I'd been wanting to get back for years, and we had a gap in our schedule because a gig fell through, and Dan said, I think we can make this fit, and we did.
Now, did you stay up on the wall boondocking,
No.
or
We
did
didn't.
you
We
stay in the
stayed-
campground?
Well, we had 2 nights in the campground, but we only actually stayed one night there
In the main campground.
in the main campground. And there's another campground way out Sage Road or something
Yes.
like
Sage
that,
Creek Road, yep.
which I don't know how much damage we did to the van. The road was in really bad shape.
Yes,
Well,
I've never been to that campground because
But we went
it's
out there. And there was
it's
a bison like 20 feet from us. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And,
And
the
prairie
road,
dogs were
the road
humorous.
was, washboard is not a good description. Corrugated is probably a better description.
Yeah, I knew there was a
Yeah.
campground out there when I visited, and I went, I'm not going down that road.
Yeah.
So,
We made it work.
did you ever boondock up on the wall?
We have
No,
not.
Okay, I've done that 3 times. It's very windy, folks. It's free, but it's very windy, and you do not want to be up there when it rains because rigs get stuck in the mud. The mud is terrible if it gets wet, and you will pay a lot of money to have somebody tow you
James and Stephanie just got stuck up there. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful view, but I've done it 3 times, and the wind just drives me nuts.
we boondocked somewhere in Utah off of I-70, and it was one of these BLM little kiosk sign that says like pick a spot where somebody else camped, and I know we were at 7,000 or 8,000 feet,
Yeah, and in the old rig where the generator didn't work at that
which was all right. But
level.
we
Yeah.
looked out, and the view was amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many places in this country that people need to see.
So that brings me to your music. How inspired are you in your songs by your travels?
Quite a bit. We have a number of traveling songs.
I got one. We just did this crazy thing called the February Album Writing Month, where it's a challenge to write 14 songs in the 28 days of February.
Oh boy.
And we both did it, so we now
Yeah.
have 28 new songs. One of them we were in a campground in
In the
in the
Everglades.
Everglades, and I had a song prompt of Running Wild, and I was trying to figure out what to write to it. And I had my chair sitting under a palm tree in our site, and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, there was an alligator sitting on the edge of the lake, about a 6 or 7 foot alligator.
Good size.
And over the next 10 minutes or so, he slowly worked his way and walked through our campsite.
Oh, that's the stuff of nightmares.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have a really good picture of this guy, because I was taking pictures of him as he was lying on the grass. It's like, oh, cool, I got some nice alligator pictures. Then he stood up and started walking toward us. I was using a really long lens. I wasn't
Yeah.
close to him.
And we eventually ended up with, in the doorway of the Travato, Dan with the telephoto lens and me with a hand on the slider, so that if he even so much as twitches in our direction, I'm going to slam the door. But after he wandered off into the woods, I realized that that could be an interesting combination with running wild, and so I have a song called Gator Gator.
I love it. I love it. And that's not going to be on your new album.
That one is not going to be on the new album, but
it'll see the light of day. We've actually performed it.
I've performed it, and right now it's just me solo doing it, because we haven't figured out where to put Dan on it yet.
But yeah, out of those 28 new songs, we have 7 or 8, I think, are going on the new album.
We're working on a new album right now.
When do you expect the new album to be out?
When it's done.
Yeah, really.
That's the joy of being an indie, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yep.
But we were tracking last night one of the songs that's about an event that happened in Vermont, just a little bit north of where we drove to, just about south of where we drove today.
Yeah.
But we tracked my vocals for that last night.
Yeah.
We have a studio
Very
in our
good.
house, and so we can do that. One of the other new songs that we have, Twilight Time in the Meadow, is all about this view out here, looking out at the hayfields.
From this porch.
Yeah.
So.
That's great.
So.
You know, a lot of artistic people are out on the road.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I write, you sing, Scott Baldessari,
Fabulous painter.
fabulous painter. He's another friend of ours who has a Travato.
And we have 2 other Travato friends who are also musicians that we know.
In our folk circuit.
In the folk circuit, that are also out on the Travato group. And Rob, I know, got his Travato because of us.
Yeah,
he
we had
saw
parked in
ours
his
and
driveway.
fell in love.
Driveway surfed with him when we were out on tour, and he looked at that. He's a retired airline pilot, and he would, wherever he was flying to, he would find some place to play in Europe or whatever.
And Randy just got one, and we found out about it at some point. So yeah.
But,
So folks, you see, when you're out on the road, you can do all kinds of fun things like sing in venues, write.
Yep.
There's lots of things to do. So tell me, one last question before we end this is, what's your dream location you haven't been to yet?
Pacific Northwest and Alaska.
You haven't been to the
We have yet to make
Pacific
it.
Northwest.
We haven't made it there
Idaho, Washington, and Oregon are 3 states up there, and I think Oklahoma is our other one in the
Have we
lower
made
48.
it to Montana yet?
I'm not sure.
I don't think we've done
Montana
Montana.
might also be on the list.
Yeah,
But we've been to most of the states. But
Yeah.
we've got a few to fill in.
I'm still surprised you have that many, Phil. I'm ahead of you. I've been in all of them with my Travato, except Alaska and Hawaii. And Hawaii, that's not going to happen.
That would be hard with a Travato.
That'd be hard, but I've been in
the
all of
shipping
them
costs
but
would be a little
elastic.
much, but
Yes.
And there was a whole caravan of folks who were up in Alaska this year, and we looked at that originally and thought, oh, that would be great, but it wasn't going to happen this year.
Yeah, I also looked into that trip and decided against it.
Yeah.
So anyway, any parting words for my Sue's Day audience?
Well, just be delighted to see you, and it was great to have,
Yes,
have you and Stacy stop
And
by.
Stacy's off working at the moment, but
We've been friends for a long time
Long
now.
time.
Long time. Even before we met, we were friends online.
We were friends online, and
Before you had your Travato.
Before I got my Travato, and I was just a wannabe.
And we first met Sue Ann in person when she came into one of our gigs in Texas.
Yes.
Georgetown,
Texas.
with my friend Rudy.
Yep.
Yeah,
and we were playing, doing a split bill with our friend Alex.
Yes. So
yeah.
see, all the friends, I didn't know them until I became a van lifer.
We've met so many great people traveling around and in the van community.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the RV community in general. It's such a great community of people.
So anyway, check out The link in the description. And thank you for coming this Tuesday, and I'll see you next Tuesday. I'm not sure where Stacy and I will be. We'll probably still be in either Vermont or New Hampshire. We're moving along on our trip, and we're having a great time and meeting up with people we know as well as new friends. So thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it. And thank you.
And check out her Patreon page, because that's a lot of fun too. We're patrons of her page as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So take care, folks.
Right?